Each state in the United States of America has a distinctive iconic shape, like a jigsaw puzzle of state shapes. Each tells a story of history, geography, and human endeavor. How did they come to be? Let's go through each of the 50 states in alphabetical order. Alabama. It is shaped by rivers like the Tennessee and Chattahoochee, historical borders from colonial disputes, and it reflects both geographic and political influences. Alaska. Its unique shape is defined by natural boundaries, including rugged coastlines, vast tundras, and its remote location in the far north. Arizona. Its boundaries are influenced by the Colorado River, the Gila River, and historical territorial conflicts, resulting in its distinctive southwestern shape. Arkansas. The state's shape was influenced by its position along the Mississippi River and the historical boundary disputes with neighboring territories. California. California is defined by its Pacific coastline, Sierra Nevada mountains, and historical Spanish colonization. Its shape reflects both natural and cultural influences. Colorado. Its rectangular shape is partly due to surveying practices, but also influenced by natural features like the Rocky Mountains and the Colorado River. Connecticut. Its shape evolved from colonial charters, early settlements along rivers, and later border adjustments, reflecting its New England heritage. Delaware. Its small size and irregular shape stem from its early colonial history and the Delaware River, which forms its eastern border. Florida. It is surrounded by water on three sides. Its peninsula shape is defined by the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean, shaped by coastal geography. Georgia. Its shape reflects its historical boundaries with neighboring colonies, natural features like the Chattahoochee River, and later territorial acquisitions. Hawaii. It is formed by volcanic activity in the Pacific Ocean. Its unique shape consists of a chain of islands, each shaped by geological forces. Idaho. Its borders were influenced by rivers like the Snake and Clearwater, and historical conflicts over territory between European settlers and Native American tribes. Illinois. Its boundaries were shaped by the Mississippi River, Lake Michigan, and historical conflicts between French, British, and American settlers. Indiana. Its rectangular shape was determined by surveying practices and the historical Northwest Ordinance, with the Ohio River forming its southern boundary. Iowa. Its shape is defined by its position between the Missouri and Mississippi rivers and historical treaties with Native American tribes and land surveys. Kansas. It is shaped by its central location in the Great Plains and historical boundary disputes with neighboring territories. Its outline is relatively straightforward. Kentucky. Its shape evolved from early colonial land grants, the Ohio River forming its northern boundary, and historical conflicts with Native American tribes. Louisiana. Its boundaries were influenced by the Mississippi River, the Gulf of Mexico, and historical treaties, reflecting its French, Spanish, and American heritage. Maine. Its irregular coastline and northern border with Canada were shaped by geography, early colonial settlements, and later negotiations between the United States and Britain. Maryland. Its shape reflects its position along the Chesapeake Bay, historical colonial settlements, and later boundary agreements with neighboring states. Massachusetts. Shaped by its coastline along the Atlantic Ocean, early colonial settlements, and historical conflicts with Native American tribes and neighboring colonies. Michigan. Defined by the Great Lakes and historical agreements with neighboring territories, its unique shape includes two peninsulas connected by a narrow strip of land. Minnesota. Its northern border with Canada was established by treaties, while its eastern boundary is defined by the Mississippi River and Lake Superior. Mississippi. Its shape is largely influenced by the Mississippi River, with historical boundaries shaped by colonial disputes and later statehood. Missouri. It is shaped by the Missouri and Mississippi rivers. Its boundaries reflect historical territorial disputes, including conflicts with Native American tribes and neighboring states. Montana. Its boundaries were established by natural features like the Rocky Mountains and rivers, reflecting its rugged terrain and historical agreements with neighboring territories. Nebraska. Its borders were determined by the Platte River and historical territorial disputes, with its shape reflecting its central location on the Great Plains. Nevada. Nevada is defined by its desert landscape and the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Its boundaries were influenced by mineral-rich regions and historical territorial claims. New Hampshire. Its shape reflects its position along the Atlantic coast, early colonial settlements, and historical agreements with neighboring colonies and Native American tribes. New Jersey. Its shape evolved from early colonial grants, the Delaware River forming its western border, and historical disputes with neighboring colonies. New Mexico is shaped by its desert terrain, mountain ranges like the Sangre de Cristo, and historical boundaries established during Spanish colonization and later territorial acquisitions. New York. It is defined by its position along the Atlantic coast and the Great Lakes. Its shape reflects early colonial settlements, Native American territories, and later boundary agreements. North Carolina. Its shape is influenced by its coastline along the Atlantic Ocean, the Appalachian Mountains, and historical boundary disputes with neighboring colonies. North Dakota. Shaped by the Missouri River and the Canadian border. Its outline reflects its location on the Great Plains and historical agreements with neighboring territories. Ohio. Its shape evolved from early colonial settlements, the Ohio River forming its southern border, and historical conflicts with Native American tribes and neighboring states. Oklahoma is defined by its central location in the United States and historical treaties with Native American tribes. Its boundaries reflect a combination of geographic features and political agreements. Oregon. Its shape is influenced by natural features like the Cascade Range and the Pacific coastline, as well as historical treaties with Native American tribes and territorial disputes. Pennsylvania. It is shaped by its position along the Atlantic coast and the Appalachian Mountains. Its outline reflects early colonial settlements and historical boundary agreements. Rhode Island. Its small size and irregular shape are a result of early colonial charters and settlements, with its coastline defining its boundaries. South Carolina. Its shape is influenced by its coastline along the Atlantic Ocean, historical colonial settlements, and boundary agreements with neighboring colonies.